It's one thing to love the ocean view and another to go deep into it. Submarines and deep-sea divers have found some of the most terrifying sights, and in this video you're going to see skeletons in cages. You're also going to see an underwater river, and lastly you'll see the giant chicken monster that doesn't look like a chicken. Skeletons in cages. Found underwater in Arizona, a diver found a rather disturbing sight. Finding what appeared to be the skeletal remains of two human bodies at a depth of 40 feet, he had no option but to alert the authorities. These two remains were seated in lawn chairs and had decayed over the years. They were covered in silt and algae, and they appeared to have been having a pretty good time before the incident. Thankfully though, these weren't actually real. One skeleton in the video was wearing aviator sunglasses and what looks like a bib, and the other wore a sign that was not so visible. The police could make out Bernie, which means dream in the river. The sign also contained a date, August 16, 2014. No one really knows who put them down there or why they were put down there. Lake NEUCHATEL Shark Statue. The Lake NEUCHATEL Shark Statue is one of the more incredible yet terrifying sights that have been found hidden underwater. It's a 5-meter shark that was made in 2007 as a prop for the short movie Chocolat. In Lake NEUCHATEL, Switzerland, this statue would scare anyone at first glance. Actually, it did scare the real-life divers who first discovered it, thinking it was a terrifying mammoth shark. Thankfully, of course, it was fake, and it just appeared to smile for the camera. It still hasn't been revealed who put it there, but it's a terrifying video that left people talking for a bit. Sea spiders. Ugh. Deep in the depths of the sea is home to some of the most terrifying creatures on the planet. The sea spider is one such creature that has been found by submarines and deep-sea divers. Sea spiders are a different breed of spider that can grow to about 3 feet long in the water. In the deepest areas of Antarctica and around the world's oceans, 1,300 of these species exist living on sea floors. They feed on worms and coral, and recently submarines have filmed encounters with these terrifying giant creatures. Sea spiders actually breathe through holes in their legs, and as they grow bigger, they're able to take in even more oxygen. Honestly, imagine a spider 20 inches long. Oh god, that's just terrifying. Even scientists wonder if these creatures grow to such lengths only in the depths of the polar ocean floor, or if there might be some that are bigger. The ANTIKYTHERA Shipwreck. Just like the popular Titanic movie, there's been a series of shipwrecks caught underwater. The ANTIKYTHERA Shipwreck is one such case. About 50 meters underwater, just off the Greek island of Antarctica, lay the remains of a merchant vehicle which sank 2,000 years ago. It's one of the oldest and most popular shipwrecks to have been discovered, and over the years there have been many terrifying things discovered in this shipwreck. One of the more recent ones was when divers found a human skeleton that may have been buried under sands and pottery for 2 millennia. For most shipwrecks, the remains of victims have either been eaten up by sea animals or swept away by the ocean. Archaeologists were excited to study these human remains for morbid reasons. The skeleton itself was an excavated partial skull with 3 teeth, arm bones, some rib pieces, and a femur. When the remains were examined, they discovered that the skeletal remains were a young male probably in his 20s, and further studies should reveal more about his ancestry. Headless chicken monster. Down in the ocean can be one of the spookiest places, especially if you scare easy. And of course, if you see a monster like the headless chicken monster. You may expect to see a headless chicken, but this creature is no chicken, although it does look headless. Captured on camera is this pinkish red-looking monster with the looks of a plum-breasted and decapitated chicken. This was captured on camera from submarines that were filming the bizarre creature. While they look more like sea cucumbers, the headless chicken monster has fins that allow it to swim upward to escape predators. This never-before-seen creature grows up to 8 inches as an adult, with its color ranging from dark reddish-brown to crimson. This creature was also discovered over in the Gulf of Mexico in 2017, and then about 9,800 feet underwater in the Southern Ocean near East Antarctica. The Apollo 11 engines. To date, much of the world's oceans have been left unexplored. These places hold some of the most bizarre and terrifying sights in history, and from shipwrecks to cities, unusual formations, and fragments of spaceships, we got this spaceship right here, including the Apollo 11 engines. Modern-day companies are producing reusable rockets at a reduced cost. However, this wasn't the case in the past. They launched one of the most powerful rockets into orbit for the Apollo mission, and sadly, this rocket ran out of fuel and plummeted back to Earth, finding itself sunk deep underwater. Thankfully though, in 2012, a space exploration enthusiast and one of the richest men in the world, Jeff Bezos, put up an exhibition. He says that these rockets are important parts of history, and as such, his team have tried to excavate some remains of this rocket and reconstruct 2 of the F1 engines. The decayed parts were actually found 14,000 feet deep, so this is an impressive venture. Crop circles. Ever seen a crop circle in farm fields? Well, these are found deep in the depths of the ocean. Pretty weird, right? Many theories have come up since the discovery that it could just be the handiwork of aliens. Divers on the coast of Japan discovered these crop circles on the sand of the sea floor. They were found at a range of depths, from shallow to 426 feet, which is pretty deep. These crop circles are made of a perfect circular concentric pattern, and it was a mystery how these crop circles got there and how long before divers could film it on camera, catching the culprit red-handed. You see, it actually wasn't aliens, but more or less a fish that designed these crop circles. The patterns formed in the sand were an elaborate cording, though they're unsure if other species of sea fishes can make similar designs. Crop circles found in Australia left marine biologists wondering if indeed other species can as well. Giant jellyfish. It's common for people who find jellyfishes on the beach shores to assume that these creatures grow to a certain length. Well, deep-sea divers had made us see otherwise as they caught on camera a giant jellyfish about 36 meters long. This is known as the lion-maned jellyfish, one of the biggest jellyfish species in the entire world. This creature is said to be native to cooler waters in the Arctic Atlantic and the North Pacific Oceans. The longest jellyfish was actually discovered by English scientist Alexander, who measured the actual body at about 6 feet and then the tentacles at 36 meters long. Usually these giant jellies capture morsels for food, and apart from that, they've been known to tangle divers. If you do get caught in their tentacles though, you're in for a bad time. They sting pretty bad. Underwater river. As you can tell, it's not out of place for divers to discover unusual things in the water, but a river underwater is something that no one would have imagined. In Mexico, they discovered an underwater river, and this landscape is covered in sinkholes and ancient cave systems that have been flooded. We know these caves as cenotes, meaning sacred well. They discovered this river near the bottom of a pit inside the Angelita Cenote Cave. The river looks as though it's flowing across, but in actuality, it really isn't. This is because the cenote has several water sources with varying levels of salinity and density. This is actually similar to rivers that meet but never mix. So instead of mixing with other rivers, this water falls to the bottom, acting as an independent water source. A human skull. For decades, divers have captured several cases of human remains in water, as you can see from some of our other entries. This one in particular was discovered in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico in 2007. Divers found the skull of a child litter around ancient artifacts. Over the years, divers moved these remains and studied them. They discovered the skull belonged to a girl in her teens who may have been pregnant and had lived there for over 12,000 years. She had signs of malnutrition and stress, and her death was said to result from falling into the pit. She's said to be one of the earliest humans to have lived in Mexico. Bimini Road. 1968, a group of divers while swimming in the water off the coast of Bimini Island discovered a road about 18 feet deep in the Bahamas. This unusual sight drew their attention, and what started out as a bunch of rocks became an entry into a path. What fascinated them was that they made the road with clear-cut rocks placed properly to form the road. It was arranged in a half-a-mile-long stretch and sort of showed a lost civilization. Not only were they baffled, but this discovery also led to many questions about how these rocks got there. These research teams have also carried out investigations to understand what it really could be. While some are of the opinion that it could have been a natural occurrence of fallen rocks underwater, some believe it was placed under there by someone on purpose. Whatever the case is, it's really bizarre. The Ghost Fleet of TRUK Lagoon. In the tropical area of Micronesia lies a paradise strewn with hundreds of World War II wrecks. TRUK Lagoon was host to many of Japan's imperial fleet destroyed by hailstones. This left hundreds of Japanese military machines and aircraft buried deep in the lagoon's bottom. The hailstones, which fell for 3 days, destroyed 32 Japanese merchant ships and 275 aircraft. It became one of the more popular World War II wreck sites, and in 1969, Jacques Cousteau with his team made a revealing documentary of the ghostly fleet. Also, just for the added creep factor, there's a bunch of human remains down there too. Now it's time for the day's best pick. This discovery was pretty terrifying to say the least. Airplane wreck. While accidents are unintentional, this airplane wreck was quite intentional. This is a Lockheed C-130 Hercules airplane, a plane capable of carrying large amounts of cargo very easily. It's also heavily used in military operations, but this one in particular was actually intentionally sunk and became an unconventional reef. Back over in 2017, authorities created a new dive site, sinking this aircraft into the water to promote tourism in Jordan. Becoming an artificial reef, it then became home to fishes and other marine life to inhabit. However, sinking the plane was no easy feat. It was placed at a depth of 984 feet off the shore and about 50 feet at maximum depth. In order to create a win-win situation for the environment and the economy, this artificial reef soon became a destination location for divers. It is quite the sight to behold and also somewhat terrifying, at least if you don't remember the story about it. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. The mystery behind the Baltic Sea Anomaly has left everybody pretty confused. Featuring a visibly distinct sonar image, this Baltic Sea Anomaly was taken by Peter Lindberg, Dennis Aberg, and their Swedish Ocean X diving team in June 2011. Peter Lindberg and his team, while they were treasure hunting on the floor of the northern Baltic Sea at the center of the Gulf of Bothnia, found this rather disturbing sight and honestly didn't know what to make of it. They said the image featured ramps, stairways, and other structures that weren't created by nature, and it's rumored that the object could actually be a UFO. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. The CAESAREA sunken treasure. Everybody wants to find their own buried treasure, though it almost never happens at this point. While finding treasure may not be a terrifying sight, it definitely is unexpected and a rare occurrence. February 2015, Zoverax Fair was diving off of an Israeli port on the coast of CAESAREA when he found what could be a life-changing discovery. He found a shiny gold coin and thought to grab it, and then pushing more into the sand, he discovered even more coins. He reported to the authorities, who discovered that these coins probably fell off a cargo ship years ago. Over 2,000 coins have been discovered, and some were pure 24-karat gold that was thousands of years old. What makes this unusual is that the writings on these coins was still legible. See you all next time!